Hello, welcome back to LIVENODING. In this episode, I will be sharing with you this node setup with Sverchok. It's actually pretty basic and simple. It replaces every polygon edge with a bone assets that I provided. So this again was inspired by H.R.Giger, which is a bar museum full of skeletons, human skeletons actually. But it's actually quite interesting. This one is, of course, more intricate, and each one of them probably manually set up. With my setup here, I have a bone from Sketchfab, which is this guy over here, and I instance the bone for each and every polygon edge of Suzanne the monkey. Okay, so how is this working? It's actually quite simple. I'm using instancing, that's why it works quite fast. And if I hide this guy, I have only the bones, but I also have this viewer objects. So with the viewer objects, you can see how I replace every part of Suzanne with a cylinder. And with the cylinder, they are all the same length of the cylinder, I think, and that's courtesy of this duplicate objects along edge. So this node handles all the job. So what I did here with Suzanne, I simply scale Suzanne and then randomize it a little bit for the edge, and then I duplicate cylinder. But we are not using cylinder. Instead, we are using bone, and bone can be really quite high res, and the bone might already have UV. So my solution is to use circle. So circle with 3 points will create a polygon face, and for each polygon face that's being generated over here, it's gonna be something that can be instant. So this is what I have. So that's basically all the process. If I demonstrate, instead of using Suzanne, maybe I can use just like a cylinder or icosphere. Let's do that. So it's expecting edge, polygon edge. So this is the icosphere with a lot of bones. All we need to worry about is just the polygon edge and the orientations. So you can see it's automatically adjusts itself as needed. I think that's because of this duplicate object along edge. If I'm not wrong, you can also change the orientation. So this is more like H.R.Giger kind of work. It depends on the orientations as well, but I like working with polygon edge better. So if you want to design like a furniture with a lot of bones, this method can be used to create array. But I prefer the outline. I mean the edge wireframe. You can see for each application there's a triangle. The triangle shouldn't be rendered. We only want to render the bones. And if you want to bake this, you can certainly do that simply by make each instance real. So you can just apply this, make instance real, and then you're gonna get instance objects, and you can turn it into mesh and then bake it into a single object, etc. But you get the idea. This is a thing pretty cool, simple. You can use cylinder, also cylinder and edge. So scale it, change the height, maybe add more subdivisions. So this bone should work. What would be a little bit more clever, I don't know, depending on how many bones you have, you might be able to, I mean, maybe in Sverchok, measure each length of the bone. Maybe you have multiple bones, shorter, medium, longer bones, and then by measuring the edge, you kind of want to make a variations of the bones while instancing it to the geometry. So a lot of potential here. You can perhaps make like a chandelier, or I don't know, everything made from bones basically. Another idea is probably if you want to do it manually, maybe using grease pencil. For each stroke you are drawing a single bones, and the length actually you could actually make it so it's kind of scale up or down based on the length. So it's scaling the actual bones, but the proportion might change a little bit. So I tend to just turn it off. So there's a lot of options here. But for simplicity, I'm just gonna leave it like this. So you can have multiple bones per edge, and then you create some kind of padding. But in our case, just leave a single bone and then turn off the scaling. So what I'm using is really just these matrices that it's being generated. So this is the one with just a cylinder that you can bake, of course. It's good for visualization. So this is what's happening inside Sverchok, and then from this I just use the matrices to scale our instance objects. So as a result, we have the bones. Maybe it's a useful trick. Maybe it can be improved. So now it seems to be no longer working because I delete the bones. But the bones can be anything. Let me reload the file. So I have here Suzanne mesh, because Suzanne mesh already have edge, and that's actually working pretty well, except probably around the eyes, but our brain probably don't mind it. So if you have something like a room you want to decorate with the bones, you can either do it manually, like I might try this, okay, with a 3D room. I scan my room, and then for each surface and then furniture, I can replace it with the bones. I simply draw each furniture with a grease pencil strokes. Yeah, I think that could be fun. But for things like this architecture bits, if it's done procedurally, you can just automate the process. I mean, this is all kind of like instance objects. But yeah, so this is the nodes. It's pretty simple. So maybe you can try using it yourself. And thanks again for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye.